redevelopment of the city of Atlantic City. Notice of this meeting has been properly posted and published in accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act. Having opening roll call. Commissioner Dorsey. Present. Commissioner Wills. Commissioner Johnson. Chairwoman Marshall. Present. Board members present, that constitutes a quorum for the conduct of business. I start at this point to rise and join in saying the pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment?
And if I may note for the record, for public comment, to the extent that any of the commenters will be discussing or wish to discuss matters involving ongoing contract negotiations, they're free, of course, to say whatever they wish to say. However, the board members are not going to be able to respond to because these are ongoing collective bargaining negotiations. Okay.
Sandra? Rodro, right?
Yes.
Okay. Shore Park?
Yes.
Okay.
I have 3 questions I would like to ask. The first one that I would like to know is this. The conditions of Shore Park's high-rise have never been set at no meeting, and I've been to quite a few. I've even went in here in November because they wanted to cease and desist me and evict me, and I went to court for that. Then it was set. Second question is, how much do you receive for a person that dies in a building because the building is falling down? How much does that beneficiary receive from the individual that's a resident of Shore Park High-Rise? I'd like to know that. Third, I need all policies, all laws that a residential resident has paid their money for 16 years and ain't never been late. And I got Shore Park High-Rise looking into $364 was taken for late charges that I was not labeled. And I at Shore Park, and I'm giving that to them to get that information. And I've requested with a letter to Evie, the manager of Shore Park High-Rise, for the 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 receipts of me paying my rent. Oh, Evie wrote a letter which is dated the 24th. This is the 25th. That I cussed at her and called her a bitca. I want you to know where I come from. I ain't got time, I'll tell you what I gotta tell you. But cussing you out and calling you out of your name, I'm outreach. And it was 11 years outreach. Bishop Fred Jerkins came in that building every Monday, paid thousands in a bank to make sure that anyone living in Shore Park High-Rise had an opening with food, snacks, juices, different celebrations. Marvin Roy, who CWA used to be president, that I supported in everything. He will tell you, I've been a server and a giver. I ain't got time to call nobody on bitca when the building's falling down for years. And I got that information and report that and presented that. 2 commissioners to let them know. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. My problem is this. I'm dangerous because I'm gonna tell the truth. I ain't got time to lie. I'm gonna tell the truth. The building is falling, there's many complications in that building. Even the elevator right now. My electric outlet in my bedroom can't be done by a person that's a maintenance person that's done and taken out outlets in that same room. He said, you need a contract. He went up in me. I'd like to know, and I wouldn't report it.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
You're welcome.
You've been in contact with Deidre, right? Right.
Deidre Brooks, yes, I had to tell her the same thing I'm saying, and if I added more, then that's what it is. But right now, this letter saying, I only wanted the incident report for Howard Spellman on Thursday last week, that we had an event concerning things about staying healthy. Now, he cussed at me, I asked for the form, now I get a letter saying that I cussed to call up me. I ain't got time for this business, same person.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. But if it's okay, I'm gonna go through the residents and then I'll call you up. Another resident is Diane Ruffin. Hi, Ms. Ruffin. Hi.
I'm here. You all know why I'm in this. I don't want to go to that. But I want to ask you a question. When I asked you how long you had did you not tell me that it is the Republican plan or the Spanish? You told me that the hurt was when I was with all the other people, hurt was at the same language and your coworkers were here. Remember in May when I came over there and Richard was there, Mr. Richard?
Back in February.
Oh, yeah, so you had told me, and that we had 3 years. I asked you, when somebody asked me, I could ask you, was taking homes off of you. I turned around and looked you in the face. Remember yesterday I told you, I love you, and I thanked you. I thanked you for keeping your promise to us. Okay.
I recall that.
Okay. So I just want to clear it up. Did you tell me that we had new recovery or dysfunction or everything?
So my answer in full context to you at the time was that it was difficult to predict the exact timeline for that.
No, you
And
didn't
that-
say that. You didn't say that. You didn't say that. You didn't say that.
Okay. Ms. Ruffin, is there anything else you want to discuss?
Oh, yeah.
During your time?
I can wait to respond.
Yes, okay. Recently, I said to you, okay, my seniors are discombobulated on the meeting that we had. And you said, there are people out there who spreading incorrect and misguided information. That's what you can say. I mean, I'm not gonna go all of it, you said.
I'm pulling up the actual text sheet.
You can finish speaking, Ms. Ruffin. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Oh, no. I can't speak on the next now. Okay, well, you not, you cannot right now, I'm just kidding.
I'm not denying you.
Yes, yes, you are, yes, you are, yes, you are.
I'm just asking you, you were pausing, I'm just asking.
Oh, yeah, well, I gotta take my time,
Okay, we're listening.
Okay, now, you say you trust Thomas? You said you trust Thomas? When he first came in, you trust him? I was in the meeting, you trust him? Well, we don't trust you. Everyone don't trust you or your friends. Because this has been going on too long. We're not at fault. We're not at fault. And for the way that Miss Diana talked to the residents, see, I have my ministry about how we as the leaders before we domestic channels, but let's focus in each other.
Right, thank you, Ms. Ruffin, your time is up.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll be back. No, I won't be back. I'll just talk to the press. And get my point across.
Next, it was another name at the bottom, a resident.
Lisa Downing.
Scared sites, okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
All right.
And I'm just here because, we're frustrated. Because it's been 2 years, 2 years since I've had my ambition. And you don't know what it's like to live in a house. With the windows open and my 2 children and my grandson, that we all have asthma. But since then, I've suffered from so many sinus infections. Because I have been going everything that comes to me, you can't close my windows. And not to use my son as his, he's special needs. And he, he's not able to tell me what's the matter with him. I'm here at Southern, and it's really frustrating for him as well. And I just want to know, when are you going to get contractors to come and fix my exit? A contractor came out and told me what was wrong, and then as soon as y'all approved, he'd be back out to fix it. That was last year, and no one's came back out to fix it. I just want to know, when someone will come.
Okay, so we do have your name, and, Tom will look into that and get back to you.
Let me know your address.
I have this, we have the name, so. If she can give it to Beth, I don't want to say it.
Okay.
Okay. So who are you?
You could privately give it to Beth, even though we do have your name in the system.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. I'm scared. Okay. All right, Olga Palmer.
We've done their residents. We have 2 more residents.
It's 2 more,
Yes.
they put advocate here. Okay. All right, Latanya, is that Latanya Elias? Elias, all right. You can come to the podium.
Sorry about that, didn't mean to be late, apologize everyone. My name is Latanya Light,
Are you a resident where?
3rd Ward.
Are you a resident of Sandy Homes? You're a resident of Housing Authority?
Yes, I am. 3rd Ward.
Yeah.
Okay, my mother lives with Jessica Town. I'm a representative of her, and I can't speak.
It's asking you if you're a resident of the Housing Authority. You personally live in the Housing Authority, so I'm asking you.
Oh, I guess.
And you answer, you don't know.
Jessica Town, my mother.
You live in Jefferson?
Yes, I live in Jessica Town. Yes, my mother. Yeah, she lives. Yeah. She don't live here, but I live in Lane City. Where I have to disclose my address where I live in Lane City.
Ma'am, no,
Just let us know, we can prioritize our own residents before other people, that's all. So we're trying to clarify, she's giving me 3 different answers, so.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it in this hand. I am a resident of Lane City. I live in 3rd Ward.
That's what I asked.
Okay, you didn't ask me that, but I don't live in house, public house.
That's all we asked.
All right, I don't live in public house, I'm speaking on behalf of my mother. Okay, she lives in Jeffrey Town. Is there a problem?
no, ma'am.
Okay, cause I'm.
No,
here-
I was
I'm
just
here-
trying to get through
Okay.
all the residents and then, go through the list, but you're up there,
I'm
that's
on the
it.
process, I'm just here. Cause I said, no, I'm not giving you a beat up on one question or where you live at.
No,
I'm
ma'am, you
just
can
saying,
speak, I was just trying to get through all
you don't
of
have
the
to manage my
residents.
neighborhood.
I'm just trying to be respectful.
So am I. Thank you.
All right, your time is starting now.
Oh, Lord, thank you.
I have to reset your time.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just here, not to be beat up on, not to just be any of that. Just to let y'all know that my mother is elderly, 80 years old, living in not Short Park, but Jeffrey Towers. Over the weekend, they had no water, and I do know some of you, but it's all, y'all know me. My name is Lasagna. You're my teacher, if not, I know you. Whatever. I know on behalf of my mom. How much time do I have? 3 minutes. Okay. She's elderly, ill. I don't want to explain, have to give her health benefits, health conditions to the whole world. But they asked her to fill the tub and do the jugs when they had your water. That was their warning. And whoever Mr. Ed Cooper is, he's very rude. I had him, I asked him for a courtesy, because my mother is on. We don't know when her day is coming, as all of us are in God's hands. Very didn't care, very rude, the call kid is horrible. Everybody can walk in there, except for who's supposed to walk in there. Everybody don't have an ID. Everybody ain't in their right mind. It's nothing but disrespect for wherever you live at. They give in on time. You know, they don't care. Birds all on her balcony. All I'm saying is, I'm here to figure out what are y'all gonna do, because that building is not safe. She has a handicap that she cannot walk down 12 flights of floors. Because they told me, you wanna go visit her, you need to start walking up 12 flights of steps. Who says that to people? Good. Is that part of the training? I'd like to know. And how many of y'all who worked on it in Jeffrey Towers, those elevators were not working, walked up 17 flights of stairs. The care workers could not get to the elderly people. That was an issue for me. So when I stand up here, I don't want nobody to question me. Because I'm trying to figure out what are y'all doing and what is the plan? Other than talking to people like y'all don't have no home training. Thank you very much. Do I have more time? Because I got more to say. I'll say God bless y'all, because that's like, how many of y'all parents live in any of those places? Sure, what is it? Oakland Terrace, train wreck. Shore Park, train wreck. The elevators, look, that came never been upgraded since they got here. It looked a mess. How many of y'all walk those senior buildings? Walk the streets of Atlantic City. How many of you?
You hear me?
Raise your hands. The time is alive.
I do
Thank
all
you.
the time.
Thank you. And I don't mean to be upset, but I'm passionate. I have to come here and see this. Come on, y'all. I'm do better.
Thank you, Ms.
Do better. This is right. Please correct. You're right. Thank you.
Ms. Elias,
Thank you.
I just wanted to provide an update. You had mentioned that there was a water issue and,
Yes.
and an elevator issue.
Yes.
So upon finding that there was a leak in one of the main water lines, we brought our plumber in immediately. Once we identified which pipe was leaking. In order to make the repairs to the lines, we had to shut the water down temporarily. Okay? The residents were notified, and there was a suggestion that was made. If you need water while it's turned off, that maybe fill up a pot, fill up something so you still have access to it while the repairs are taking place. We anticipated that there could be further leaks once the water was turned on later that day. There were none, right? So, and I was there in the building when Shadi actually got on the PA system and said that the water was being turned back on. But unfortunately, there are times if a leak occurs, the plumber cannot work on the line if there's still water going through it, so they had to shut the water. With regards to the elevators, we became aware that there's an issue, and the elevator contractor was contacted that same day. They were out that same day, and they went up to the control panels and did diagnostic work they needed to do, and the elevators were working correctly at this correct time. So I just wanted to let you know, your concern about your mother's safety. Anytime we learn of an issue, we get right on. If it's something that does require a contractor to come in, we rely on that contractor to do what we need to do.
My feelings, I do want to apologize for my feelings. I didn't come in here. I didn't come here to talk down. I just want some answers. I appreciate you answer and talking to me and respecting me. Because, you have a lot of question. Or yes, this is an honor. The phone said I just do. I do apologize. Thank you.
Lord Griffin?
Yeah. I am a resident with my mother. I'm a caretaker, apartment 324, Alton Terrace. Laura Griffin. And I'm gonna say this, nothing, no repercussions of anything should come between me or my mother, okay? I wanna say that because I went to the council meeting and I see the same person here at the council meeting. I don't understand if y'all understand the Robert Rules of Order, but we are in bad conflict here.
Yes.
I don't understand what y'all doing, but I went to the council meeting and I see the same person
Yes.
at the front of this table.
Yes.
Like, what are we doing?
Yes.
People, are we voting? Because I don't understand. We need to do the Robert rules of order with all the residents. And this is a conflict. I don't understand. Y'all mothers is not living in these conditions. You're putting dispensaries right across the street from our elderly drug addicts.
Yes.
Are you serious? Are we serious? Are we serious? Really? Are we serious, Miss Stephanie? Are we serious? You're gonna sit on the council meeting and allow these people to put a drug dispensary right across the street from the mayor's house and elderly people? What are we doing?
Yes.
I am disturbed. I come from that era. I come from BAC, where my mama was a crackhead. Okay? That's not okay. I fight every day with people knocking on the door, harassing me. Disrespectful. Today, I'm just walking out the building. This guy that y'all got as a security guard attacked me for no reason. Because I opened up the door for another guy and he attacked me. This is not gonna go down like this. I've been disrespected 3 times. One from a security guard, one from your resident. I asked her not to knock on my mother's door. And do you know this girl wanted to put a knife and harass me? Do anybody have to indulge that going through taking care of their mama? Now, Miss B know me. She know me. I come from the area,
Thank you, Ms.
okay? So what are we gonna do, people?
Thank you, Ms.
Okay, I got some more little minutes because this got to be resolved. I am also asked for reasonable accommodation for my mother. We were approved, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. My mother is in a chair. The elevator is not gonna work. She needs accommodation from her bedroom to her bathroom without roaches and rats.
Thank you, Ms. Bertrand.
Cause I'm sick of this.
All right.
So what are we gonna do, Miss Stephanie?
Someone will be in contact.
No, don't be in contact with me. You need to be making changes.
Okay.
Cause you got a dispensary going on and I don't understand who getting the cut.
Thank you.
What's up? Cause y'all getting the cut and we living like we in rat folks housing. Come on, y'all gotta wake up. This is disgusting.
All right.
Like, what is we doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Y'all really gonna keep this going on? And letting them open up all these dispensaries, killing these elderly people? Like, I just don't understand. And you sit on the couch.
Please come up.
Thank you, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Olga Pomar, I'm with the South Jersey Legal Services. As you folks know, we represent close to 150 residents of Stanley Home Village. I last came before this board in February and presented some comments and recommendations for how we might be able to move forward with the progress, to make progress at Stanley. Since that time, I have reviewed a draft transfer plan that the board adopted at its last meeting. I sent you all comments on that draft transfer plan. Since then, I've seen a copy of the revised transfer plan that I understand is on your agenda for the meeting tonight. And so I submitted additional updates to my comments because I'm very concerned that the new version does not really resolve the major problems that we see with how things are going forward. So I just want to quickly sum up the major points in those comments now. The first thing that really jumps out at us is that we're terribly disappointed that the housing authority has not committed to replacing the heating system at Stanley. We knew there was a problem in 2022, there were some band-aids done. We knew there was a terrible problem in 2023, your own consultant, Michael Brown, issued kind of a scathing report of just how serious the problems were, particularly with the underground piping. The board decided not to go ahead with the replacement system then. Then the judge ordered 3 times that the housing authority had to replace the heating system by October 1st. And the documents that I most recently saw was that you're again gonna rely on Band-Aid measures, minor repairs, and somehow think that removing Village 3 is gonna fix the problem. And I don't see how, looking at all the evidence we have, anyone can think that just taking some 12 buildings off the roof is going to fix the problems with the traffic. So we're really concerned that the housing authority is not moving with that, it's not moving with other basic repairs. And since not everybody is going to be moved out immediately, those units have to be kept safe and habitable. Your own revised plan proposes that people live there for just about another 3 years. They really can't live another 3 winters without keeping hot water the way we've been living the last 2 years. The second concern we have is about the process the housing authority is using. It never did any kind of study of market conditions, market analysis, where people might end up if they all have to move, like how many options they have, and what kind of fair housing implications. We have clients, as you know, who are eager to move, who want to move, and who have had real trouble finding housing through Section 8 vouchers. In part, they have not been getting adequate assistance. They've had troubles with delays in processing Section 8 paperwork. They've had problems with securing money for utility deposits, security deposits. I was encouraged to see that your revised plan provides you some additional help, like payment of security deposits. I think that is really good thing, but it's still not going to be enough. What about loan? What about application? What about fees for credit screening? What about utility deposits? What about transportation to go look at places? These residents who want to move need more help. They need real mobility counseling, and they need more assistance. The other problem is that we're not going through the required Section 18 process. It seems like the Section 18 process is becoming irrelevant because everybody's going to be moved out, or half the place is going to be moved out before the application is being accepted. And the process provides certain tenant protections, resident consultations, and the like, and it's not happening. And there hasn't been no resident input. There was a meeting on July 10th. We weren't allowed to attend, but what we heard is people were told, this is a done deal, this place is coming down, we're all moving. That's not exactly right. I will speed up. I'd like to point out that we object to the housing authority's proposed mandatory transfers. Clients object to being moved to deteriorated other housing sites in less desirable locations. We don't understand how, if you're slowly moving people over the course of 3 years, it suddenly becomes an emergency when it wasn't an emergency, when we had crises with gas leaks. If the housing authority really believes that conditions are so dire that people have to be moved on an emergency basis, then why is the housing authority continuing to charge the rent? The judge did take care of that to some degree. He granted the 75% rent abatement yesterday, but the housing authority is still continuing to charge rent. And finally, last point, we're really disappointed that the housing authority is shelving its choice plan to develop the resident input and saying they're not promising to build a single replacement unit. That's really the only way the housing authority can guarantee decent housing in this place down the residents. If it was built housing before it forced people to move. And instead, you're saying, we don't promise any affordable units. We don't promise to give you a right of return. And we'll pick up a planning process after Stanley is vacated. Thank you.
Brian Norwood.
My name is Brian. For those that don't know, I'm property manager, all concerns. So I want to first thank you for, putting all the services related issue on the agenda. But then I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I know the attorney said that, you can't answer any questions, I don't need to answer any questions about the contract, but I do just want to speak and let you know where we are in our contract negotiations. We negotiated the contract with the authority, and, I think we had stalemate on wages. The authority is telling us that they had no money for its workers, so when we examine the financials, it's quite surprising. We are still paying consultants over $1.2 million a year. We pay one consultant $80,000 per month, another $28,000 per month. On that same one, we paid him $511,000 last year. This year, we're on track to pay him over $325,000. We also pay a consultant $7,000 per month, $6,000 per month respectively. We also pay local 55, $69,000 for 3 employees and $77,000 for 1 employee, which makes them make about $18,000 more than what our current maintenance supervisors made. Now, this is all happening while the authority states, once again, that they have no money for us to receive a decent wage. Additionally, the authority is hiring non-union management workers at salaries starting off at $75,000 per year and higher. And not only that, we've had multiple employees receive $30,000 raises when they've been promoted to a new position within 1 year. And when we brought that up and asked about it, we brought up and asked why we couldn't receive a decent wage of $10,000 over 3 years, we were told because of the conditions at standing. Even though those 3 employees received $30,000, $37,000, $37,000 respectively within that year, and the conditions of standing are the same that they were when those employees received over $30,000 of raises. ACHA workers have dedicatedly served throughout the pandemic without complaint, boosting our health to ensure that authorities' operations continue smoothly. In the next contract, we accepted an immediate raise of $3,000 over expiration, understanding the authorities' financial restraints at that time and being under zero threshold. However, that is no longer the case. ACHA workers are now simply asking for a respectful raise. The authority is offering $2,000, which comes out to $38 extra per check. And just think about that, $38 extra each check that we get would be $38, which is unreasonable in this economic climate. We're underpaid, we're undervalued. With rising costs of goods, housing, and general inflation, some of us are struggling to keep up. We want to be treated with respect, and we feel that this employer does not care about us. Despite this, we come to work every day, perform our duties diligently. The problems of the authority do not lie with the workers, but with those who control its operations. We seek respect and recognition of the department's authority. Thank you.
Thank you. Melinda Bates.
Facts.
Betts. Good evening.
My name is Melinda Batts. I am the property manager with the Housing Authority. I've been with this company since 2000. And we are aware that the consultants with the Land City Housing Authority are collectively paid over $1.2 million a year. There's one consultant who earns $8,000 a month, another $28,000 a month, totaling over $500,000 last year, while others receive 7 Gs and 6 Gs respectively. This is happening while authority states it has no money for workers' raises. No wonder they claim to have no money. It's being directed to consultants who are not even employees of the authorities. Additionally, the authority is hiring new non-union management workers at a salary exceeding $100,000 per year. Management themselves have received raises over $30,000 each. Housing authority workers have dedicatedly served throughout the pandemic without complaint, risking their health to ensure authorities' operation continues smoothly and to look after our tenants. In the last contract, we accepted a meager raise of only 3 weeks over its duration. Understanding the authority's financial constraints at that time and being under zero threshold,
However, this is no longer the case. ACHA workers are now simply asking for a respectable raise. The authority is offering only the same $3,000 increase over the duration of the contract, which is unacceptable in today's economic climate. Workers are underpaid and undervalued. With the rising cost of goods, housing, and general inflation, they're struggling to keep up. They want to be treated with respect from their employers. Despite this, they come to work every day, perform their duties diligently. And the problem of the authority does not lie with the workers, but those who control its operation. We seek respect, recognition of partners in this authority, and we want to afford the necessity for ourselves and our family. Thank you for your time and your attention. Have a great day.
Peter, Caparula.
Good evening, my name is Peter Cipollillo. I am the senior community representative at Atlantic City Housing Authority Workers, primary supervisors, secondary supervisors, and the white collar and craft bargaining units. I'd just like to reiterate what the worker said. We've been negotiating a contract with the authority. It feels like we get stalemate, which I'm ready to. The authority claims it has no money for workers, but when examining the financials, it is quite surprising. Again, the consultants with the authority are collectively paid over $1.2 million a year. $1.2 million a year for consultants. One consultant earns $80,000 a month, another $28,000 a month is in 1 year, total over $500,000. While others receive $7,000 and $6,000. This is happening while the authority states it has no money for worker raises. No wonder they claim to have no money to be directed to consultants who are not even employees of the authority. Additionally, the authority is hiring new non-union management workers at salaries exceeding $100,000 per year. Management themselves have received raises over $30,000 each. Atlantic City Housing Authority workers have dedicatedly served throughout the pandemic without complaint, risking their health to ensure that the authority's operations continue smoother. In the last contract, they accepted a meager release of $3,000 over its duration. Understanding the authority's financial constraints at the time and being under the threshold, they took that contract. However, this is no longer the case. Atlantic City Housing Authority workers are now simply asking for a respectable raise. The authority is offering only the same $3,000 increase over the duration of the contract, which is unacceptable in today's economic climate. The workers are underpaid and they feel undervalued. With the rising cost of goods, housing, and general inflation, they are struggling to keep up. They want to be treated with respect. They feel that their employer does not care about them. And despite this, they come to work every day to perform their duties diligently. The problems of the authority do not lie with the workers or the residents. It lies with the management who controls operations. They seek respect and recognition as partners in the Atlantic City Housing Authority. They want to afford the basic necessities for their families, and negotiate a fair wage increase will help us get there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yvette Jobs Atkinson.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Like everyone else, it's Jobs Atkinson. Jobs in the Bible. Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Agree with everything my coworkers have said, but I just wanted to talk to you from a more humane. A lot of us, including you, live here in Atlantic City. A lot of us are property owners, and on the housing authority wages, it's very difficult to live within Atlantic City and pay your property taxes. A lot of us have multiple jobs in order to live, just like everyone else, just normally. And we're just here to ask you, the commissioners, to just speak with our management because they are not bargaining in good faith. You cannot come from a place of no, of 38 cents of $38 a paycheck raise when we show up every single day and we work. You know, us here today, we care about our tenants. A lot of us have known these tenants throughout our lives. I started working for the Housing Authority at County Homes Village, 2008. I am now here, 2024, and I'm still here. And I try to give my all when I work, because I care about the tenants. I see every day. I see them when I'm at work. I see them when I'm in the supermarket. I see them when I'm at the gym. These are people who are part of my daily life. Okay, so they're important to me. But I just ask that we should be, as employees, equally as important to you. We are the ones taking care of the tenants of the Atlantic City Housing Authority. And I just ask you to just give us some grace and just meet us fairly. Social Security receives a COLA raise. At least talk to us about that. Have a good day. Thank you. Mike?
Hello, everybody. Tracy. Go ahead and the workers, we had the body, we had the honor, we had duty, elder, we had the noble. We put the past for this time. We go above and beyond. We're the first responders. We're y'all first responders. And it's sad to look at us reporters and see the sadness they face to come to work. Well, let's say a number. The train just went up. 86,000 for one talk. That's the $1,000 that you offer. That's that $1,000 that you offer. And anybody else is eating what we already make. Taxes, this, that. Like it's sad. Send us back and say $1,000 is what it is historical practice. Our historical practice is how our political friends have been here. Our historical practice has been the hard work and honor and dedication that we have given this company. And I'm gonna give you something real. My daughter always say, man, it's never fun that. Hey, what's the price? That's that shit. Joe's called frosted flakes. Tight. I put a box of flakes on the table. You know what she said to me? She said, Dad, I brought everything we eat for. I had $20 in my pocket at that time. So you know what I said? I'm gonna get the work. That's my thoughts. Well, come on, Bill. We're gonna go out and eat. We're gonna go out and eat. I'm gonna get you down. But it's sad. It's sad. Don't go sad. You're better in this war. He's good, so I'm not putting a war on him. We better than war. All right, I'm not concerned about the problem finance. That's not my concern. They're waiting for the first responders. We the first responders. No, this ain't what's about it. We are the first responders.
The years.
The vibe, boom, there, call, boom, right there, I'm there. No matter what step, I'm there. No matter the time, no matter the hour, I'm there. So I come in the door, right, boom. Yeah. Most of the time I get a work, that ain't even a work where I go take you that 10. I go right and take you that 10. I'm not dedicated too. I go get it done. Oh, my pup, I go get it done. Yeah. We ain't gonna go get it, no. But I'm speaking for everybody. We're y'all first responders. Don't work with us, work with us. Like you said, pay the wages. So what? We're not asking for 115,000. Exactly. We're not asking for that. We're just asking this. Wait a minute. Can I take my daughter to the zoo this weekend? I'm praying to y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Do I buy a soda or do I buy her? I mean, like, that's all we ask. We just don't finish. And I wasn't even gonna speak because they say everything you need to say. But it's hurtful, it's painful. Because we want to say historical practice, we've been giving it to you, coming in every day, going through the ups and downs. And I can go back when I was at Stanford. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, bust out window, go domestic situation, a guy decides to jump out the closet, you doing this one, hold, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, we've been through it, he's new, you don't know. But to come in
And when you want an officer, whatever historical practice, that means you dwell on someone else. And I'm be honest with you, $1,000, that is financial slavery.
It's a second phase.
$1,000 stuff, that's collateral damage. We just want fairness. That's just fair wages. You know what I mean? We don't want to go to the supermarket and gotta get a choice. We don't want to have to do that. That's all we ask. It's just fair with us. You know what I mean? And whoever got to be held accountable, don't file that big, those accountable. You do that, we aren't what we asking for. That's your responsibility. Hold me accountable, hold them accountable, hold every department accountable. You can't live like this. I can guarantee you right now, that you go to the Walmart, I got about 4 or 5 residents already waiting for me to go. I got 4 or 5 residents waiting for me to leave out. You know what I do? I turn right around. I done already clocked out. I don't even clock back there. What's wrong? I go home. Work with us. You walk with me. You walk with me, brother. You walk with me, brother. You walk with me, brother, today. I know for a fact I got the same results on when you walk with me today. So ain't nothing changed. Still alive. Ain't low my standards or nothing. I'm entertaining all this thing. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Joseph. Anyways, that's what we want. We ain't asked, we don't want to find out nothing. We ain't asked for that. We ain't asked, this is fair. Don't make it when we gotta go somewhere and make a choice. And like she said, people say someone working something, I can't get a second job because I committed to your own role. So I can't get another job. I can do today, but I have to work time for the other on issue. Because my commitment to y'all, I can't get another. I turned down 4 jobs after hours. Because my commitment to y'all. God probably work with me speaking in the vision, but I had to turn it down. You understand what I'm saying? It's fair, please. Think about me going.
I just have, my name is Paul Rich, president of Ashley Union, 2023 D. I just have, like Mike said, everyone else said, they said everything, but we still need to respect, we still, even if you say, call us up individually or send a notice out individually, say, thank you for your efforts. Thank you for your skills. Thank you for your way to handle the tenants that come at you rough. And we want y'all to recognize what we do. Like Mike said, we are the first responder. Even when COVID was out, we was coming to work. Nobody else was coming to work. We was coming to work. We didn't get no money for that. If you complain about it, we still danced. We did Catholic Hospital. We danced with the bull. And had no problem with it. We might have right. Yes, we do have issues in maintenance department. Everybody have issues. But you shouldn't let those issues, not see that we're still doing a good job. Because with the handful of maintenance that we got, we're still doing Catholic Hospital, dancing with the bulls. And we getting it done. With stuff and without stuff. We don't have enough supplies, we still get it done. We don't have enough tools, we still get it done. But everything that doesn't get done comes down on maintenance. Why it comes down on maintenance? We don't know why, but it does. And it shouldn't be like that. Because we really holding the fort down. Besides the property managers and managers, we're the ones holding the fort down. So we're the ones should be more respected and more looked at. Exactly. We should be. Because we hold the fort down for the housing authorities. Because if the maintenance man crew leave now, what y'all gonna do? You gonna suit up, you gonna boot up, you gonna get dirty, you gonna play in the mud, you gonna snake out the drain, are you gonna do that? And we can't get what we, and like Mike said, $1,000, you might can't live on the thing, you know what $1,000 extra? And like Yvette said, can we get the COLA? Give us a COLA and give us $1,000 or $2,000. I'm joking because this is ridiculous. Every time we turn around, if something goes wrong, in a certain area, it's always a maintenance man doing this, doing that, but we ain't got no supplies, we ain't got no tools. So what you want us to do? But we still make it happen. We still make it happen. So if you can respect the maintenance man for doing what he's doing and say, you know what, the maintenance man really are doing the job, we're doing a good job. You might get complaints from lawyers about mowing everything on windows and doors, but give us supplies and give us what we need, give us the training, and we can get it done. Because we hire people that have no training, so those who do have training, when maintenance men come in, we got training. So that kills us, that slows everything down that we really need to get done, because we gotta train them, so now we gotta train them, then go back and do what we gotta do. But make sure they still doing the right thing, the trainers that, people that we train. So, with that being said, thank you for your attention and your hospitality. And we just respect the maintenance man, know that we're doing our job. And let us do our job, because we get it done. Give us supplies, give us tools, give us MONEY, and we get that. All right, not no $2, not I need $30 an hour because I'm killing myself, and also we need training for confined spaces, and we deal with waste. And you know, for OSHA, there's certain criteria that you gotta have, and there's certain trainings you gotta have for OSHA. I did OSHA 30. That crawl space, you can't go to that crawl space. That's a death trap. Because there's no way out. I'm finished, thank you.
All right, thank you.
If blind man can see and a deaf man can hear, they don't care about us. They don't care about us.
I see some hand raised on to.
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, we have 3 speakers from Zoom. The first one would be Stephen Young. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Yes, Steve Young. I'm here on behalf of National Action Network, South Jersey chapter and president. And I'm speaking about the Stanley Holmes Village residents. We've been to this meeting several times asking for transparency. At the last meeting, we requested, without an answer, this transfer plan that you're talking about doing. And we also asked that you communicate with the residents before you go forward with any of the plans, because that's a mandatory mandate from HUD and the federal government. Today, I don't know how you've been doing it, passing different things related to housing situations without the residents' input and signing off on different issues. But we're where we at right now. And I'm gonna ask the question like I did last month, to the executive director. There's a meeting going to be held with the residents, helping them organize a resident association and giving them an update of what's going on. And we would like to have you present, as well as anyone else related to the issues that's dealing with Stanley Holmes Village for now.
Yes.
And we would like to answer now. Is that a yes or no before I get cut off? Because I have another question.
The answer to that is yes, we have been meeting with residents and we will continue to meet with our residents.
Now, we have a meeting scheduled for July the 30th at 5 p.m. in Stanley Holmes Village. Will you be present at that meeting?
I'll take a look at my calendar as I'm just finding out about this right in a second. So I'll have to get back to you on that, Mr. Young.
Okay, the other question is the transfer plan. Do every resident that lives in Stanley Holmes Village, can they have a copy of the plan before you even vote on it? And that's only fair and being transparent. You can pull it off the agenda for now and until after the residents have a chance to review before moving forward. Will that be able to be done tonight?
I can address questions on and but go ahead, continue with your comments.
And who are you, first of all?
I'm counsel, but I don't want to take up your time.
Okay.
Go ahead and.
Okay, the last question. Sure, thank you. The last question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Young.
Okay. Last question is very important. The morale that we just heard from the employees of the Atlanta City Housing Authority is very crucial and it's emerging. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's a trickle-down effect. Because if the employees are not feeling comfortable with their pay or how they're being treated or lack of materials, it trickles down to the residents. And this is no fault of the residents. All of this is no fault of the residents. And we're trying to bring about a solution to everything, but we must be trying to have transparency and documentation like we've been asking from day one. So we want to continue to have that. We want to have that, just like Senator Booker, just like Senator Menendez, and just like Congressman Van Drew has asked. And we have sent out letters to the Secretary of HUD asking for her to come here in Atlantic City as well. And we're still waiting on an answer. And it's going on almost 6 to 7 months. And this is a new Secretary of HUD. So we really want to continue to help hold people accountable. If you don't want the job, get off the seat, move out of the way. But this is not your money, this is the taxpayers' money, and it belongs to everybody to pay federal taxes, and all of us do. So so I would like to have an answer to those questions before it's actually cut off. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna address the transfer plan when that resolution comes up. I see another hand raised.
Yes, the second speaker would be Angie Torres. You may unmute and speak. Ms. Torres, would you like to unmute yourself to speak? Ms. Torres, this is your last chance. If you would like to speak, please unmute yourself, or at least type in chat that you can't unmute yourself. Oh, there she is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I could, I'm old school. I could figure it out. Guys, I want to please thank you very much for putting us on the agenda tonight. I appreciate that very, very much. And hopefully we could go forward with that. But I also have to say that I stand behind the managers and these maintenance men, because these maintenance men work all the time. We don't have efficient plumbers, never mind maintenance. What is it? We have one plumber for all the sites. That doesn't work when it's a definite issue. Okay. But I definitely stand behind these managers because I see some of the abuse they take sometimes. And then these maintenance men, there are not enough of them to try to get it all done. And they take a lot of abuse from these tenants also. Okay, and I have to say, I am behind them 100% on that. And that's about all I have to say, but I wanted to thank you for putting us there. And like I said, standing behind them.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Is that it, presume?
There's one more. Tony Seafield, you may unmute.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Seafeld, and I am the Regional Director for the International Union Security Police and Fire Professionals of America, SPFPA. We've been negotiating a contract with the authority for some time, and it feels like we have hit a wall regarding wages. We continue to work with them in an attempt to get a fair and equitable deal for our members. The security officers that we represent report to work every day, every shift, with the highest professionalism and with only one goal in mind: to protect the authority's assets and provide the safest and most secure environment for all. What we are asking for is not a luxury, but a necessity, a fair wage increase for our members and their families. In our last contract, our members accepted a raise of just $3,000 over its duration, understanding the authority's financial constraints at the time and being under zero threshold. However, that's no longer the case. Our members are now simply asking for a respectable raise. The authority, in turn, is offering the same $1,000 per year increase throughout the length of the contract, which is unacceptable in today's economic climate. With the rising costs of goods, housings, and general inflation, our members are finding it increasingly difficult to make ends meet. They want to be treated with respect and feel their employer does care about them. Despite this, they come to work every day and perform their duties diligently. The problems of the authority do not lie with the workers, but those who control its operations. I am hopeful by addressing this board, we can shed some light on the challenges we face in negotiating a fair and decent wage increase for our members and their families. I appreciate the time to address this. That was my written statement, but just a few off the record things. Our folks are highly skilled and trained. They are the first responders who report to numerous calls of on certain calls that come in, they don't have time to think about it. They just have to report to the calls. So we feel that's a necessity for them to get this wage increase. So we're hoping by addressing the board, this can be to some assistance to get this done. So again, I thank you very much for allowing us to speak on this subject.
Thank you.
That is the last speaker from Zoom.
All right, thank you. We can move on with the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. Item 4 on the agenda, which is approval of the June 27th, 2024 regular and executive session minutes. Motion. Seeing none, roll call vote. Dorsey, yes. Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Willis and Chairwoman Martin.
Yes.
Minutes are approved by vote of 4 in favor. Opposed. Item 5 on the agenda, reports of board committees.
The executive board committee met, and that will be a part of.
Seeing no others. Item 6 on the agenda, report of the treasurer. We're good reading everyone.
No questions at this time.
Thank you. Item 7, report of the secretary.
So I will continue with the same formatting as a matter of consistency and begin with Stanley Homes update on our A&E firm is currently finishing and issuing work orders for heating system repairs, some of which will be performed under our existing contract. We are leveraging the skill set of our contractor. Much of that was discussed in a documentation package that was made a matter of public record. It's also incorporated in our summary that was our transfer. We'll add on, I did not have this initially, but I want to clarify that we are not simply putting a Band-Aid on the Stanley heating system. We are utilizing a hybrid approach, and we're utilizing also the existing sections of Stanley piping that were recently replaced in recent years. And we are adding to that capacity by modifying the roofs, adding sensors, and we are not disconsidering any centralization of any buildings, but we are actually trying to maintain what we have while we continue to develop a Section 18 application for the redevelopment of Stanley Homes. Our transfer plan, as I already mentioned, has been updated. It was submitted to HUD on July 15th, 2024, along with all the revisions. It is included on tonight's agenda. The fiscal needs assessment that will be incorporated into a Section 18 application has now entered the early strategy and approach phase. The assessment will include the entirety of Stanley Homes. It will give an accurate accounting and an engineering perspective on what is necessary in a short time period and the dollar amount associated with those repairs. We already anticipate that it is going to be an astronomical number, but we will allow the engineer to make those calculations for us rather than providing what is a highly educated guess. We spent the past day and a half with HUD personnel from Philadelphia, Boston, and Newark. We reviewed the transfer plan in great detail along with the engineering assessments that have been performed, and that plan was well received. And I would be remiss, there were actually personnel from Washington, D.C. that also accompanied virtually, but we had regional folks that were in attendance personally. We met with our Stanley residents on July 10th. That included the entirety of Stanley. We have additional meetings being scheduled for August 8th and August 19th. Residents will receive advanced written notice, and we also will be including resident needs surveys with the invitations. We do understand that during the choice planning phase, The Stockton University did conduct resident needs assessments, and we are updating those. At the last standing meeting, a representative, a gentleman by the name of Russell Graves from Consumer Credit and Budget Counseling Services, did present. It is a free service to our Stanley residents. It is a HUD-approved contractor. Any resident that is interested can utilize those services, and they can also utilize those services regardless of whether they are voluntarily transferring using a housing choice voucher. If they are pursuing home ownership, it is still free to the entirety of the state. Regarding moving assistance, another update to the transfer plan is that we are currently engaging with faith-based organizations for additional assistance directly to any residents that pursue. The Housing Choice Voucher Program. We continue the process for finding suitable housing for Stanley residents through the Section 8 program. An update to previously reported numbers is that, as we stated previously, there were 69 vouchers issued. As of today, we have 28 leased, and we have 41 that are searching. In terms of assistance to our search vouchers, we continue our partnership with DCA, the state of New Jersey. They continue to provide housing navigator services to any residents that are seeking a lease through a housing choice voucher. In addition to that, previously mentioned that we are offering credit and budget counseling. We have other nonprofits that are being referred, residents are being referred to through DCA that do provide assistance with security deposits, utility setup assistance, and various other resources. For the finance department, the audits for fiscal years 22 and 23 were previously completed and are fully submitted to HUD. The solicitation for the 2024 audit, 3/31/24 audit, is anticipated to be advertised next week. We are engaged in direct solicitation with the fee accountant. Our comptroller has been in contact to answer questions recently that the firm did have, and we are anticipating that a proposal and or engagement letter shall be provided to us within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Additionally, we are working with a grant writer for the fiscal year 2024 Capital Fund Trouble Grant. The application is due in August. There is a cap on funding of $3 million to be put toward capital projects. We are still targeting unit turnover assistance as an action item to speed up the process and reduce the burden on our housing authority staff, and local 55. Through their combined efforts, well, actually, I'll get that into that in the management section, but we have been turning over units and we're going to be seeking outside assistance. In the month of July, we also met with a representative to get a brief presentation to discuss ESCOs, which are energy savings contracts. They're also referred to as energy performance contracts. These are projects that are done and are sanctioned by HUD. What that allows us to do is to obtain additional capital streams because we know that our capital budgets are very strained. We have a lot of deferred maintenance items that we have to address. And the cost of construction has increased significantly since the last time a full fiscal needs assessment. On the management side, vacancy turnover continues to plow ahead. In the month of July, we had an additional 24 units that have been fully turned. We are also developing additional staff training to get everyone up to speed and comfortable with new policies that are being updated and improved, some of which had not been updated since the early 2010s. 2013, I believe, was the last major update to one of the policies. So we are actually in the process of setting up training so that our staff have the resources that they need to effectuate the policies. On the personnel side, I'm happy to announce that on July 16th, our new procurement coordinator began her employment. Her name is Elizabeth McAllister. I don't know if I'm on the spot, but Beth is present today. We are scheduling for mod coordinator, another round of interviews for next week. We are currently conducting interviews for the vacant position of Chief Financial Officer, CFO. On the maintenance side, we are also scheduling additional interviews for candidates to be added to the maintenance staff. We still currently have 4 local 55 laborers on site, and we do have confirmation that an additional 5 are going to be provided near term. Our maintenance director is tracking their actual start date. Part of my report includes a written report I'll be distributing to all of our commissioners based on requests for unit turnover as well. And that for the moment concludes my secretary's report.
Brings us to item number 8 on the agenda, other business and communication. See, item 9. Item 9, resolutions proposed for adoption this evening. There are 11 resolutions in all, numbered sequentially from 9785-07-24 through 9795-07-24.
I'd like to make a motion to pull 979 and 9790 for discussion and merge. Move the balance. So, 9 and 90 discussion, the balance.
So, your motion, we're talking about the resolution. So, the transfer plan and the involvement. Okay, Mr. Dorsey has made a motion to combine or hold temporarily for discussion resolutions 9789 and 9790. Do I have a second to that? Second by the chair. Your roll call vote on the motion to hold these two for discussion at this point. Commissioner Dorsey? Yes. Commissioner Johnson? Yes. Mr. Rose? And Chairwoman Martin? Yes. So resolutions 9789 and 9790 will be hold for individual discussion. Mr. Dorsey, have a second to combine the rest. All right, we have now a motion to combine for consideration in one vote resolutions 9785, 9786, 9787, 9788, 9791, 9792, 9793, 9794, and 9795. Motion by Dorsey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by the chair. Any discussion on the motion to combine those, however, 9 or so resolutions for a single vote? First, then we'll have a vote on the motion to combine. If that passes, there will be a motion for adoption. So we have a motion and a second on the combination. Roll call vote. Commissioner Dorsey? Yes. Commissioner Johnson? Yes. Commissioner Wills? Yes. And Chairwoman Martin? Yes. All right, those resolutions, which I'm not going to begin, have now been combined for consideration. And any discussion? Well, first, a motion for adoption. Motion for adoption. Dorsey has made a motion. Is there a second? Second. Second by the chair. Any discussion on any or all of the combined resolutions?
I do want to discuss resolution 9795-07-24. And Tom, I don't know if Melissa will call to discuss that.
Melissa is.
Yes, okay, well, you could, okay, if you just
I don't
want
want to take away. Let's-
oh, no, go ahead. What we're doing there, we just want to just briefly touch on that resolution.
Sure. Uh,
9795.
The final resolution, 9795. This is a resolution which, if adopted, would direct our executive director to request approval from HUD to revise the current payment standard for our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program from its present 110% of fair market rent to 120% of fair market rent. That's a permissible move under HUD regulations, but requires HUD's approval. So the first step in our process would be, if this is adopted, to have our executive director reach out to HUD to obtain their blessing, which, if sustained, would be followed probably at the August meeting by a resolution to approve taking the standard from 110% to 120%. The rationale for that being, of course, that in a tough housing market, you can offer a little bit more to the landlords to encourage them to participate more readily in the Section 8 program. If there any further discussion about any of the resolutions presently combined for the rate.
And I just wanted to, because it didn't come out, that resolution didn't come out in our packet, but that conversation came up within our HUD meeting on yesterday that said if we were to pass a resolution asking tonight that given time, permission to go to HUD to ask for that increase, they will consider that. So hopefully by our August meeting, we will have an answer.
So may I have a motion and second for adoption of the combined resolution? Motion. Further discussion? See none, a roll call vote on the combined resolution. Commissioner Dorsey. Yes. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wells. Chairwoman Marshall.
Yes.
Thank you. That has that line. Group of resolutions that passed 4 in favor, none opposed. And that brings us back to the 2 resolutions which were pulled for individual discussion, 9789 and 9799. Oh, we did combine those. So we have a motion and second for adoption that will open the floor to discussion.
Okay. Second.
97, 89, and 97, are now before the board for discussion.
Okay. Melissa?
Yes, Chair.
All right. If would you mind discussing the transfer plan?
Of course. So the transfer plan is in regard to addressing Stanley Homes Village. Obviously, the Housing Authority has discussed Stanley Homes Village throughout this evening. This is a plan that is not required by federal regulations. It is not something otherwise required by federal law, unlike most of our other policies, which are grounded in federal regulations. This policy was something that HUD asked the Housing Authority to prepare, presumably so that HUD could work with the Housing Authority in addressing the situation at Stanley Homes in a comprehensive manner and having all of the different things that we're doing to address it put in one place. So that was the genesis of the transfer plan. Just to quickly address the one question that we had on that in terms of resident input, this is different than the federally required plans and policies that we have that have very specific regulations for resident input. All of the other plans that we've been putting in place over recent months went through a notice and comment period. Some of them had a public hearing before adoption. This was not done on the transfer plan because simply, as I said, this is not a plan that is otherwise required by federal law. This is something that HUD asked us to put together, and so we did. Much of what is reflected in the plan are items that are already in some of our other policies. So the plan generally goes over the situation with Stanley Homes and goes over the plans to ensure safe and sanitary housing for the residents of Stanley Homes. It goes over the housing authority's ability to transfer residents out of Stanley homes and into other public housing units, which is already encompassed in the housing authority's admissions and continued occupancy policy. So the housing authority already has the ability to do that. That is reiterated in this transfer plan. In addition, the transfer plan goes over the housing authority's intent and desire to utilize the highly sought after Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program to assist Stanley Homes residents. And it goes over some of the things that the housing authority is doing in terms of having outreach meetings with residents, going door to door to educate residents about the Housing Choice Voucher Program. It put in place a number of things to try and ease that process of moving from the public housing program to the Housing Choice Voucher Program, such as the landlord incentives that have already been discussed to try and assist bringing more landlords into the program, assistance with moving expenses, assistance with security deposits through the DCA, also assistance through the DCA with systems that help locate and find housing. So all of these things are put together in the plan so that people that HUD, the Housing Authority, can all see in one place the various things that the Housing Authority is doing to try and assist residents in moving on to the Housing Choice Voucher Program. It also reviews the fact that several months ago, back in January, the Housing Authority instituted new preferences for the Housing Choice Voucher Program for residents in substandard housing and residents in subsidized housing. The residents of Stanley Homes will qualify for both of these preferences, which again will assist them in getting a voucher, which is critical for some of these residents to be able to move out of Stanley Homes. The plan was, as we indicated, the plan was adopted at the last meeting, but through further meetings and exchanges and communications with HUD, HUD had some comments and input into the transfer plan, which was incorporated into a final version of the transfer plan. So the main difference from the plan that was adopted at the last meeting and this plan is that we've incorporated HUD's comments and questions and issues into the plan. So while there has not been a process of incorporating a formal process for incorporating resident input into the transfer plan, we have been working with HUD and incorporating HUD's input. And as the executive director has mentioned, there have been these meetings with residents. There have been going door to door to the residents in Stanley Homes and soliciting input, as well as numerous more formalized studies that have been done with the residents of Stanley Homes in terms of assessing their needs. So there have been interactions with the residents. There have been more informal solicitations of input, but there is not a formal process to incorporate resident input in this simply because, again, there is no process for it for this particular policy. But that is the overview of the transfer plan. And I am happy to answer any questions the board members may have.
Motion is up.
Right, any questions?
Well, right now, we have combined the two.
Yeah.
8990 were combined.
Okay. Any questions?
At some point, we will be discussing.
Well. And some of the details have been discussed with the residents. Diane Johnson, she's had 2 meetings with the residents, and some of the things in the plan she has discussed. And she's having another meeting with the residents August 8th. Okay, yes, and so it will be discussed more. And I would probably say after it's adopted tonight that maybe all the sites should have, well, Stanley, they should have it there in case the residents want a copy of it just to review.
Of course, we'll also, we're gonna put a digital copy on the website.
Mr. Johnson, anything you would like to add?
There's no further discussion about resolution 9790, second to combine. And we have a motion and a second to combine resolution. Ready for the roll call vote? Commissioner Hurst. Yes. Commissioner Johnson. Yes. Commissioner Lowe. next resolution. Ask for in favor, none. That brings us you're not, you're about to say, okay, plug in the end of the first, second one. We'll all be clear in minutes. We do have a need, Commissioner, for a closed session this evening. And closed session is to discuss and hear information concerning items relating to collective bargaining agreements, specifically the three pending contracts that we negotiated at this time with CWA, AFSCME, and Thank you. It is not anticipated that any action will be taken following closed session on the items being discussed in closed session. And when the items that are discussed in closed session no longer require confidentiality, then that information will be provided to the public. The anticipated duration of the discussion where 15 minutes to 6 hours. So, may I have a motion and a second to enter into closed session? Thank you. Thank you. And roll call vote, Commissioner Dorsey. Yes. Commissioner Johnson. Yes. Commissioner Wills. Yes. Chairwoman Martin.
Yes.
Board in favor, none opposed, we stand adjourned from the open session and enter into closed session. As always, we would ask everyone if you plan to stay around to do so. All right. We are ready for a motion and second to leave closed session, return to open session. Thank you. Roll call vote, Commissioner Dorsey. Yes. Commissioner Johnson. Yes. Commissioner Wills. Yes. Chairwoman Martin.
Yes.
Thank you. Board in favor, none opposed, we are back in open session. For the record, during closed session, the board discussed with council several matters involving ongoing collective bargaining agreements with the market negotiation. And no action is proposed tonight based on our agenda. That brings us to item 10, good information. Probably something good.
Still peer day, Wednesday, from 1 to 3, July 31st. So I have a couple flyers here.
Your first ward residents.
Yeah, first ward residents, and then I'm on there, so at large too. You can invite some of the kids. Still peer day, where they can get on the rides from 1 to 3. Yes, on Wednesday, July 31st. Normally get about 1,000 kids, so.
Nothing in grants.
Motion. We will now motion and second. Motion. Motion, Commissioner Dorsey, second, Commissioner Wills. Roll call vote, Commissioner Dorsey. Yes. Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wills.
Yes.
Chairwoman Martin.
Yes.
Four in favor, none opposed, and
I make a motion to change our yellow and almost black tablets to blue and silver tablets, so we don't look like